Swami Vishnu-devananda talks about living with Master Sivananda at the Sivananda ashram in Rishikesh, India. Hari Om Tat Sat.
A lot of duties, and this morning they had to go out for some more work, and where they brought the essence. After reading, I thought they are actually visualizing the whole events in a dream, what has passed. Even for me, the days I spent with him look like a dream now, but it is real. I remember he told once, I was about after 6 months of my stay in the ashram, we used to assist to arrange the evening satsang, prayer meeting, by putting the picture and other lights, everything in front of the Ganges on the veranda of the master. And that the ashram was very small. There were only about not many disciples, not many visitors. So they could all sit on the banks of the Ganges on the veranda of the master where he used to sleep. The very veranda is now still we keep it as holy. There were also not many, about 20, 30 people will be there, including visitors and the disciples. And one day after the evening meditation and the prayer meeting, he casually remarked, I'm looking several things, and he looked at me and told, one day he had to go to America. I was only 18 and I never heard much about, my geography was very poor. I didn't like geography, not history in my school life. I heard about America a little bit, nor I used to read newspapers at that time, so I don't know much about what politics, what world is. So I thought it was just another type of masters, maybe. Sometimes he makes jokes. And now I can see, when I look back, when he told that day, my karma is somehow destined here in this continent. And he foresaw that I have to come and work up and build up an institution in his name. In fact, all my life in a way is directed towards his mission, whether I like it or not. I go back into my life, all the way back, I see everything is prepared. First, in the high school, I remember we had to take some subjects. There are different subjects, and each 2 subjects we had to take compulsory, and they give many options given. There are physics, mathematics, physiology, chemistry, and accounting and botany, chemistry, and different type of subjects, but 2 subjects we had to take. I took physiology and chemistry as my subject. My cousin laughed over about the whole thing. He asked me, am I going to be a doctor? What is the purpose of taking that subject? Actually, I don't know. Now, I remember now when I look back, again that helped me a lot in understanding some of the scientific truth about matter, about mind, about God. That was necessary. Maybe the whole thing, when I directed now, I can see what I am teaching. Master's first teaching was he emphasized physical health. He started a journal. So unwittingly, without even knowing, the tendency was there to go into that line. And eventually, it turns everything into spiritual. And after finishing my studies in high school, my early life was very, very difficult, very tough. I had to go to school from my home. For 4.5 miles I had to walk, and 4.5 miles I had to go back. 8 and 9 miles every day I had to walk. And then the difficult part was I had to carry books, lunch, and walk. It was too much, so sometimes I would have to skip carrying lunch. Sometimes I had to swim during the rainy season. We had to swim the rivers and streams. It's everywhere you will see monsoon is beyond your imagination in our country. We got no winter where I come from, but we got terrible monsoons. It pours and pours. Every field, every street, everything can become a waterway in that time. So first thing we had to learn is how to swim. And the older students, we always go in groups, not alone. It's very difficult to walk, first of all, 4.5 miles alone through the paddy fields and forests and rivers and riverlets. Second thing is, company is very important, and the older students who are more older to our age, they help the young ones to cross the river, to cross the streams. So they learn from the very beginning a kind of unity among the children to help each other. By the time when we grew up and the young ones who are coming, we will be leading them across the streams and rivers just like we have been led by the people who have gone ahead of us. So there is a life of intense affection among the students itself. And as soon as I finished my studies, I was 16, I finished my high school. There's an intense desire, I don't know what to leave home. I would like to continue my studies. Mostly my tendencies were towards scientific nature, mostly electronics, engineering. This is in my blood. I used to play with lot with the lens and chemistry, electricity. There is no electricity in our hometown. So I used to collect all the father's battery and make a long thing to connect to get enough electricity to look into how the electric bell works, and whatever the school says I'll create. So also there's a telescope there, said they had to make a telescope. I steal father's all spectacles and took all the lenses out and made a long telescope out of it, and I used to put a cardboard and look into it, how it works. So I played a lot, and mostly my line was in that temperaments were towards scientific investigation. But though I know that we have to, university is too far away, and to get an engineering education is very hard in India. it's too difficult. There's only few students admitted. Mostly at that time the training was given, it was British rule, and the training was given only to bring up more clerks and office workers. So that's the thing at that time they needed. So very little opportunity for scientific temperament students to get into any education at that time. So anyhow, I thought maybe the best thing is, it was war, maybe joining in the Navy I may be able to get more knowledge on this subject. But I was underage, and moreover I never seen more than 14 miles from my home. My parents were very strict, and my father was really disciplinarian. From the very childhood he put me to tremendous discipline. I must get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, wash myself, take a bath and study. According to the rule of India, the Orthodox rule, early morning is the best time for studying as your mind is calm. So every child should get up in the morning, and the parents insist they must take a wash and bath and then take their books and sit and study. They invariably see this. Then afternoon, just before supper, the whole family members should come, all Orthodox families. They come in front of the veranda. The oldest person in the house, she will be in charge, and she is like a queen in the house. She may be a grandmother, she may be a grand auntie, makes no difference. And the oldest person has got the respect. So she takes command and brings all this young and old, everyone, and then they sit together and do a prayer for half an hour before supper. And then we retire, and of course we don't have electricity nor any other recreations. Mostly we use oil lamps, so we have to retire very early. So my father used to sleep upstairs and I used to sleep with my auntie down. He goes very early to the fields because he's landowner, and he worked all his life in the land. He hasn't got any Western education or English education except basic language of his mother tongue. And so he was very much devoted to his work, and he liked his field and his cattle and cows. So he gets up 5 o'clock in the morning and then finishes washing. And 6 o'clock sharp he will come down and he will go to the field. And he used to scold me if I don't wake up at that time. So I learned that art of finding out when he wakes up. There's no alarm clock, there's no watch anywhere in our home. We always, when we go to school, we have to learn the position of the sun to find the time. And we look the shades of the tree or shade of certain things, and by measuring the shade it is certain time. And we literally go to school by looking at the shades, and sometimes we measure our own shades, we learn to find out the time. We have to invent our own way of finding the time. So I invented this method at that time without even knowing unconsciously how to wake up before the father wakes up, so that I won't get his scolding. And so the moment he walks up, I am up from my bed and on. So this became a habit for me. So I learned first discipline of getting up in the morning. And then afternoon, it doesn't matter where I go for playing or anything, I must back home 6 o'clock is the rule. I am not allowed to go after 6. And so early life was very disciplined life because I had to go to school. And now my parents won't allow me to leave, though I finished my high school. Still I am young, I am under their charge. But there's a tremendous urge, I want to leave home. I don't know why. I want to learn more, I want to learn, and the best thing is joining the Navy. So I wrote to my cousin who is in Bangalore, it's about 500 miles away, and I asked him, will you please help me? I want to come out of the home. If I come to you, will you please get me a job? I will stay with you so my parents won't object. As long as I am with you, they won't object going away from my home, as you will be my guide. He wrote me back, I'll be very happy, you can come and stay with me. And he has got his family, but he said he's got a spare room, he can find a job and help me. So when I got the letter, I approached my parents. This is the best opportunity for me to get out now. They cannot refuse because I got a written letter from my cousin that he will look after me. So with great difficulty, they gave me permission. Because I'm only son, they don't want to leave me. They always want to take care of the family lands. That's what their ideas. But I want to leave. Anyhow, they gave me permission as if I directly go and see my cousin and stay with him. So they gave me enough money to buy a ticket and just few extra rupees spent on the way. And my idea was not even go to cousin or anyone, just to get out of the home and get the permission and get enough money. My first opportunity, I never seen more than 14 miles. That is the nearest place I saw is Palakkad, about 14 miles. Sometime I used to go with my father for cattle. He used to buy and I used to walk with him. Beyond that, I never seen. My world is only within this 14 miles limit. Now, first time I am going beyond 14 miles is the first opportunity. I got into the train. I came to the nearest first recruiting office, which is 50 miles from my home. I heard about it. I got on from the train and directly walked into the recruiting office. And there, it happened, so it was Saturday, so they said it's closed, there will be no recruiting possible. Then I had to wait 2 days. I stayed till Monday. And to make cut short the story, I went for the first day of the medical examination, and they looked and they said I had bad heart, underage, underweight, every possible medical ailments they found in me. So I was disqualified. And now you can imagine that the first shock in my life. Luckily, I didn't spend all the money. I was almost saving enough in case something happens. I must have enough money to reach my cousin because I don't want to go back. So I was disheartened in every way possible. Why it happened, I couldn't understand it. Later on you will see, everything is, the moment if I go anywhere wrong, you will see everything is leading towards his mission. So I, with great disheartened, came back to the railway station, got my ticket to Bangalore. There's no other alternative. I got nothing left now except for the money for the ticket. As I was standing there, again the destiny was not taking me to Bangalore. Suddenly this my first actual spiritual teacher, you can call me. A young man comes, he's about 19 years old, must be about 18 years old. He's 2 years older to me. He saw me as if he recognized me. Oh, my friend, what happened? I saw you at the recruiting office. What happened to you? What are you doing here? And I said I was disqualified medically, so I'm going to Bangalore. And they asked him, who are you and who he is? He said he is coming from Madras, and he is also at the recruiting office, and somehow he didn't like it, so he is going to Madras to join the army. And so She was talking all about it, and by the time the train came, we both had traveled the same train, and at midnight, 1 o'clock, I had to change to another train to go to Bangalore, to my cousin's place, and this train will go directly to Madras. And the way we both got in the train, and first time meeting a stranger, and this boy knows more about the world than me. My understanding is very limited. So he had talked me into it. Why don't you come with him to Madras, and there we can join the army. I said, I can't. I don't have money, first of all, to buy the ticket to Madras, nor I know anyone. I am quite new, but I must go back to my cousin now. I was a little bit afraid, also ashamed and disheartened. And then at 1 o'clock I got to get down. This boy held my hand. No, let's go to Madras. I will arrange everything for you. I'll buy the ticket and I'll pay the extra fare over the way. I don't know what happened, so I stayed. And this boy took me. And next day I arrived, and then there so many things come, and I had difficulties with the ticket collectors and so forth. I skipped off that thing, and then we came to the army office. We walked all the way. Now I don't care to go back home, doesn't matter where I pass, as long as I get a job. I don't want to go back home. And the next day the medical examination comes, and I was afraid again. But this day everything was all right. My heart was all right, age was all right, everything was all right. Just in one day everything changed. So joining the army, I was in the engineering corps. They call it Royal Engineering Corps at that time. So somehow the life was more horrible at that time. I didn't know that the army was so terrible, and so there's tremendous discipline there. Early morning, get up and watch, and here only is the master say, get up at 4 o'clock. There they kick you and make you up at 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and so it was really discipline. At 16 and a half, it was too much. Anyhow, I took it, and then we had to learn the rifle, for self-defense, they had to teach you all the rifle parade and this and that. And by that time, after 3 months of lessons, they transferred us to our headquarters in North India. But this all happened in South India, and now we have to go 2,000 miles, we have to cross. And the people come after 6 months of training in the headquarters. When they come back, they will tell about this is nothing, what you get, all the training and the discipline what we get in our home area is nothing. And there it is really terrible. Climate is different, food is different, everything is different from north to south, and we never know what cold is, and there extreme cold in the winter. The hot weather is 120 degrees in the shade, sometimes we can get there. And this all about the disciplinary staff, they call it, who is to train the young recruits, and they're illiterate brutes, and we are educated people, and we had to go under the training under these people. They used to scare us. Anyhow, the train came, and we all hauled to the North India 2,000 miles, which takes a week's journey. It's very slow trains. And at last we arrived in Punjab, that is the northwest province of India, where now they divided both East Punjab and West Punjab. They've gone to Pakistan, certain area. And Jalandhar is my first headquarters. And then again, to cut short story, that the training finished and it was very horrible. And at the end of the training, all the recruits will be dispatched to reinforcement battalion. This is called training battalion, and the other area we've got our own headquarters, reinforcement battalion, where the battle is going on, especially in the Middle East was raging. All the recruits are trained ones are taken to reinforcement battalion. That means any day, any night, any moment, you are off you don't know where and which place, they won't say anything, they'll just come and ask you to get into the car or lorry and then dump you like in the cabins in the train and then take you to the ship or ship you wherever they want and no question asked and they won't say where you are going and when you reach there somewhere and they only give some post box for you to give your address. So even the family members are not allowed to know where you are, maybe Iran, Iraq, anywhere, Italy, any front. So all my friends, suddenly after the recruits, one night came and they called the roll call and put everyone out to the reinforcement battalion. And last name, they didn't call me at all. At last they called my name. And they said, I'll be sent to the depot battalion, that's our headquarters, where all the records and looking after the welfare of the people who have gone overseas. And this place is very difficult. This post is very difficult. No one is allowed to stay in depot battalion. They must go at least about a year or 6 months experience in the battlefield before they can even get any post there. Very rarely even that is possible. But from the very beginning, they didn't even send to reinforcement battalion, and I didn't know why. And the name was called, and I was put permanently as a permanent staff there. At that time, I was just barely 17, 1 year of my training. Now you can see why. If I had gone to Iran, Iraq, and so forth, I wouldn't have met my master. The time has come, I had to see him. Everything is prearranged as such. So also if I had gone to Navy, I wouldn't be coming near Jalandhar, which is not very far away from Rishikesh. I would have gone to Bombay or some other place. I would have never opportunity to see. So anything, if I had taken the wrong road, it's always back into his mission. So the depot battalion came, my friends are all gone to Iran, Iraq and Italy, and my life became much easier now. There's orderly to look after things and it's mostly office work. And so my karma became a little better now. It's more leisure. So there are friends, other kinds of friends came. We used to talk all about nonsense every evening. And as I told you last time, then one day it arose, what is life? After one quarrel, next morning I found a small leaflet in my office, and that opened my eyes. I want to see this man now. Who is this man? Who is this Swami Shivananda? With great difficulty I found at that time ashram was not known. Rishikesh is almost a remote part of the world for me. And I want to get off 2 days off on weekends from the camp. Generally they don't give, on weekends we are allowed to go only to the city for 4 hours. You must get special permit to leave the camp. And rest of the days we are not allowed to leave the camp. So on Saturday or Sunday they give 4 hours special permit to leave the camp. Within 4 hours, that's all maximum we are allowed to go. And now I'm asking 2 days off all the way to go to Rishikesh. So I applied a small application to my superior. And what happened, I don't know, he granted, which he never does. So I just took off my 2 days off and went to Rishikesh. First time I saw Haridwar. Early morning, I took my first holy bath in the Ganges, according to the Hindus. Holy bath in the Ganges will remove all sins. So I was brought up in a Hindu religion, so I took with great faith to wash all my sins. And then took the next bus, a return bus they take from Haridwar to Rishikesh and back. Because I had to catch the evening train back. I don't have much time now left. So I can go to Rishikesh, just have seen this man and then come back. That's all my desire. So I arrived somewhere, I think in May or June, I think. June 46. Yes, almost 20 years ago. Not 46, 56, almost 20, 21 almost. And Master, I left and arrived there, Rishikesh, and this bus goes and stops just in front of the, not far away from the ashram. From that onwards, the pilgrims has to all walk around this, there's a hanging bridge, and cross the hanging bridge, go to Sargashram, where Master used to do penance before, and then pilgrims will cross across the ferry, a free ferry is given, and the ferry comes and stops back again in front of the bus where the ashram is situated. So first I didn't go to ashram, I took the walk with the pilgrims, so I want to find out what it's all about. And it's on the way, a lot of holy men and swamis with the orange robes and bears and every type of people you will see. And then came to Sargashram and then crossed the ferry, took the ferry and then came to ashram. Ashram was in a very poor state at that time. During the war, everything was slow, and the kitchen was in dilapidated state. But as I came, Master was sitting. I expected that he must be sitting on a tiger skin, all the ideas I had about how a saint should look like, and people will be all standing with reverence and so forth. But I came and I saw a few pilgrims and visitors came to see him, and he was sitting on a platform, a concrete platform, and the rest of them, some of them standing, some of them sitting and asking several questions, just like a press conference going on there. But when I looked at him, one thing is quite different. He is not like any other person I ever seen in my life. I could never forget the first time I ever seen. It is nothing but a man. When he smiles, the face just literally looks like a sun, and his body is literally glowing. His skin is so soft, and there is a light emanating from his body all the time. That's my first experience. And I was only a small boy, there were so many people there, and everyone was asking questions. I never even dared to ask a question to such a man. So I was satisfied. I just silently back and left the place. I didn't ask one question, I only stood for 1 minute there, that's all my first contact. And he didn't see me, I was far away in the crowd. I went back to my camp in time. Then I had my leave after some time, 20 days, 28 days, you get first time leave. My parents were by that time were all didn't know what happened to me, and I didn't reach the cousins, and there are big things going on at the back home. At last I wrote only after 3 months or 4 months only I wrote where I was. By that time I already contacted my master, and I knew I met him, everything all happened so fast. So now going back to home, so first thing I'll stay 2 days at least in his ashram and say learn what I can learn from him. So I want to find out more about it. So I just came back in a small, this thing I got out of the rickshaw, that is the conveyance from Rishikesh. And then I was just going to his cottage, his ashram. At that time he was also coming from his afternoon, I think he would go to the small office there. He finished his office work and he is returning back into his cottage in the Ganges band. And there's a small group of his disciples following him as a procession. And I was still egoistic and I was a learned person. I don't want to go before a saint or a man because I'm more educated than anyone else I knew. And it is a customary that you have to go before a Swami, especially a saint like Swami Vishnu-devananda. It's naturally we had to go, and I didn't like it. So I just moved away from the path so that the procession go away and I need not go. And to avoid the prostration, just prostrating before a saint, I just moved out and took in a corner and stayed there. But as the procession came and suddenly it stopped and it just came to my direction. And he asked me, "Are you coming from Jalandhar?" I said, "Yes." And then he prostrated before me. I never cared to prostrate before me. He touched my feet and he taught the first lesson, the humility, which I didn't have, even still as very little I have. That's my first lesson I received. And absolutely a saint where the ministers, prime ministers and presidents all come to and bow before him. Here is a man, absolutely a stranger, a stupid boy, standing with all his egoism. I think all about, I knew about the world, about things, and he just come and has to get away from his actual path and come out from the path and to ask a question and to teach me a first lesson. And that's my experience. So I learned from him. He's not like any other Swami or a saint, because all of Swamis will never go with another man, my God. If a Swami goes before another person finishes, his spirituality has gone down. They never go, they will always keep their head high. The moment you become a Swami, you are not allowed to go before anyone. That's the rule. And here is a man broke all those rules, and not only young man, old man, children, doesn't matter, anyone he prostrated before, animal, doesn't matter what it is. So in his practical life he showed the humility. That's my first lesson. Second lesson, to cut short, it is Friday evening, it is they were worshipping the Ganges. It's a beautiful time, everyone is enjoying. And the atmosphere is marvelous, because first time you come, everything is wonderful, anywhere, any spiritual. After some time you stay, things become, you don't see the same beauty. But the first experience was marvelous. And the disciple of Swami Shivananda came with flowers and made a small, tiny paper lamps, and they were floating the paper lamps on the Ganges. And they were worshipping the Ganges. It's Friday is devoted for worshipping the Ganges, a flowing river. For me, I'm skeptical, and though I was brought up in a Hindu religion, I don't care about all those kind of rituals. So I was just thinking, what kind of foolish disciples Shivananda is having. They don't know ABCD of anything, they don't know anything about H2O, the water is made of hydrogen and oxygen. I learned all about in the school, I know everything about it. These illiterate disciples, I was just feeling myself as superior to them. So I was just observing their whole ceremony, just more as curiosity seeker. And suddenly the Shivananda also came and joined his disciples. And I said, what kind of man he is? He's not an ordinary man. He is saint. Not only that, he also was a medical doctor. He knows all about H2O. So why he has to worship a flowing river? I was thinking like that. And just at that moment he turned back, just a second, and looked at me. I was mentally thinking, and the thought reached him, and just look at it, and look at this foolish boy. He knows everything, he knows because he knows a little bit about H2O. And then there comes my second lesson. Everything changed. The whole Ganges vanished. With a one bright light, everything merged. Just giving one simple message, everything is God, even this flowing Ganges is God, the mighty Himalayas is God. There is nothing except light appears. So he thought, do not use your intellect to find out the truth. Truth is far beyond your understanding. You are nothing spiritual life. You are not. You don't know ABCD. See, so he taught me second lesson. Well, that's enough for me. No more, because I am not ready for anything else beyond that. Then I went home, and then it came next year, 1947. It was Diamond Jubilee celebration. The war is finished, and they asked me whether I would like to continue to stay, and they will make me big officer, and they will make me promotions and everything. I said, finish my army life. I got what I want. I go back home. I thought of settling as a simple school teacher and become a teacher and help these boys, illiterate boys in my hometown, village. They don't have much education. I think that's the best profession, I thought. So I can carry on my meditation, my helping these children. And so I tried to settle in my hometown. But 47 came, and I had to undergo special teachers training course for this purpose. Anyhow, the invitation comes for its birthday celebration, which they sent to every holiday. And that was my last understanding. My home life is coming to an end. By that time I was now almost 18 now. So I want to go and visit Master for his birthday and get his blessing. Now I didn't see him more than a year now. So I collected enough money to just to got the return ticket, and 15 days I took off to leave, and I was supposed to be back within 15 days. My mother was following to the railway, to the bus station. As she was following, I was about to get into the bus, I looked at her, and there was a message, I will never see her again back home. I said, what am I talking? I'm coming back in 15 days. But no, I won't come back. That's for the message. I was terrified. But still, no, I cannot leave my parents. I was so attached to them. I was still young. How can I go? But that was the message. I left. In fact, so many things happened on the journey, which I'm going to skip off. Arrived Rishikesh. 1st September 1947. The celebration of the birthday was 8th September. And many devotees are started slowly coming from all over India for this special occasion. It is 60th birthday. And the evening when I was standing there, and they gave me some small duty, a lot of monkeys there, and they put a kind of lintels to dry in the sun, and monkeys come and disturb and take everything away. So they asked me to guard those. They gave me simple duty. Everyone has a lot of certain duty. So I was just guarding the monkeys and looking after these things. Master was passing by that and looked at me. You stay here. I said, yes, Swami, I said. I don't know why. And then I realized the message I got when I left home. I said, I'm not going to come back. And the message is here now. This time he said, stay here. And that's how I stayed there. I was not prepared. I didn't have no intention to stay. And then life was very struggle because my parents were pulling one side and my master is pulling another side. There was tug of war for 6-8 months. The tug of war went on very badly. I couldn't take anymore. I want to go back home, but I don't want to go back home. And parents started writing letters to come back. And so the tug of war, when at last I approached Master, I don't know what to do. So I approached him, please tell me now, I don't know what is my right to go and serve my parents, as it is our custom in India. Old parents we have to go and serve, or I should serve you. And he said one simple word, Mada nasti pida nasti, there is neither father nor mother for you. And I accepted his words and I stayed. And so went on. And then I thought maybe now he is he's interested me to stay, so he's going to initiate me into all meditations and make me up in the spiritual heights. I was imagining all those things because I heard a lot about spiritual experiences, meditation and all these things. But soon he dispelled that kind of foolishness. Hard work, service is important. Next morning he asked to take all the guest clothes and go and wash in the Ganges. My God, I never even wash my own clothes in my home. Because I come from Orthodox families, so I belong to servant class, washing the clothes and sweeping this. Never an Orthodox hair casting, never do. We never touch a broom in our life. If you do, we think it's considered below our dignity. This way we are taught. So all belong to servant class. Now here I have to go and wash others' clothes. And that's the way he started. The first lesson. Well, if you want to reach somewhere, be humble. Forget about superiority, higher caste. Everything has to disappear, which you heard yesterday in his own talk, how he went and prostrated before the untouchable and made him his first teacher. So what he did exactly, he will repeat the same thing to all his disciples. He never gave promises he's going to illuminate and touch yourself and then initiate and take you to the higher heaven. No, hard reality, work hard, 24 hours he will give you, he will keep you busy. And then at last I became like his personal assistant and so on. So many things I skip off. Then Master also made me, when the Forest University was opened in 48, first time after a year and a half actually, he started teaching yoga scientifically to all the people. So he took 4 or 5 of his disciples and allotted one particular yoga as the chief professor. So one for Vedanta, one for Raj Yoga, one for Karma Yoga, one for Bhakti Yoga. And I was still 18 only, and he put me in charge of Hatha Yoga section at that time. And that's why I made the first time we start teaching the yoga to other visitors and guests. So I started learning much from that onwards. I learned more yoga by teaching than by studying. There's so many things you have to learn, but when you teach, you learn more than anything else. So the Master used to praise me in front of the people. Sometimes he criticizes me, but mostly he praises. But when the egoism goes up, he knows how to punish too. So he praised me, Swami Vishnu-devananda is a great yogi and this and that in front of the people. So egoism came, maybe that's right, I'm a great yogi now. Because I'm teaching a little bit of yoga, a little bit of exercise, so egoism will start building up. Instead of removing the egoism, it starts becoming more concrete. So I thought maybe yogi should have beard and flowing hairs. So I started growing beard and a little bit of long hair. Because without that you can't become a yogi, because people don't respect you, You need all those external things, a nice beard and a nice hair flowing. It looks a majestic appearance. So I started making real yogi. Next day, few days after, he was watching my beard growing. So he asked, "Oh, Vishnu Swami, now you want to become a great yogi now." Very simple word. He saw me egoism building up. Instead of removing this and become servant, I must start behaving like any other person there. He never allowed. That was sufficient. Immediately went and shaved. Oh, I will be just like an ordinary man. And that's what second. So he never allowed to build up this kind of show business, hypocrisy. Because he lived just like a plain man with the humanity. He wants his disciples to also to live with them. It's not something like going up or seated up. And then after that, then I became his personal assistant, and several things happened. And this Govind's case is one of his disciples This story I will narrate and the next story, and then I'll conclude. There are many things, maybe I'll talk some other day more about my further experience, as I can talk whole night about what happened. I'm skipping off everything and only taking some details here and there. Now the last thing about this experience of the Govindan, I was his personal assistant at that time. Somehow I was very lucky to have that opportunity to serve him. It's not because he needed that. He gave an opportunity young people like us to have contact with him. And so when he goes for the evening, I take his bag. He carries a bag with few books and sometimes a little bit of fruits and some prasads to distribute. And I take a lantern, a hurricane lantern, to show the light on the way, because he has to climb up to the top of the mountain. And early morning when the forest university just started, 4 o'clock, he insists no one should follow at that time. He will go all alone. Evening, and during the daytime I can serve him. And so on that one evening I was going up with the lantern, and that evening Master said, there is one student came about 6 months ago, and he had a lot of mental difficulties. His wife committed suicide because she couldn't take any more his atrocities. So he didn't have any more mental peace, so he came to the ashram. Everyone comes there to ashram, doesn't matter who they are. Master never asked their question. So he said, he's mentally disturbed, please help me. So he asked to go and sing Hare Rama, stay in the temple, do some simple service. After 6 months, he wants to go back home, and he wants money now. It's 2,000 miles journey, and ashram always in difficulty like here, always debts. And Master feeds more than 200 people he used to feed by that time, pilgrims and visitors. Whether they pay or not, they all have to be fed, and the ashram has to run. And there's no other place, confusion you can find like that ashram. There's no rules, no regulations. Anyone can come, anyone can call Swami Sivananda and then eat his food and then go away with all the money or whatever he can. So the people take advantage of his heart. So he thought he also wants. Ashram is really in difficult position. So he wants money to go back. Master advised him not to go. First of all, he won't feel peace. Secondly, ashram is in difficult position. We can't afford to give him money, go home. And then he was very angry and he left and went back to his room. And that evening, and that the next day morning it happens, Master never missed one morning. Always we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning for our meditation. Never missed one. Every morning he used to come. The first morning he missed. He never came for the lecture or for the morning meditation. We didn't know why. Because I know if he is not able to come, because I always get the information, but I didn't get also. And he locks his door and no one can go at that time. If he is locked, we will never disturb him. And then 4 o'clock, he didn't come, and so when the meditation is over, we want to find out, and he was sick or something, we don't know. But at 9 o'clock, as usual, he came to the office, and he didn't say why he didn't come. Then the usual procedure in the evening, I went after his supper, I took all his books and things and took the lantern and started leading him back to up the top of the mountain. Is the half the ashram is down and half the ashram is on the top. So we had to go to the top of the ashram there, just like here, almost the slope. And there is small winding roads, paths are there that time. And so on the way, Master said, I want to go and see Govindan. How is he? So I don't know, Swami, we didn't see him at all today. So please take me to his room, I want to go and see him. So he went to I took him to his room. And I was going, then we want to go home. He just like show every kind of contempt of the Master. He just didn't answer even a word. Class Master left, and then we came back to the hall, and he sat as usual in his on the side of the window, and devotees, about 30, 40 devotees on either side. And as soon as I come, then I read Gita, and with the when Master comes, and before already the curtain will be progressed before the Master comes. And when the Gita chapter is finished, then we put the dim light and we sit meditation. And within 2 minutes after that, when we put the light dim and we are all in meditation, suddenly a big noise. It is generally I used to face Master. On that particular day, Master was sitting there, and I joined this side of the group, facing the other way. And suddenly there was a big noise and clap, and everything was shattering, and there was a few pictures on the wall, it's all breaking down. Suddenly, naturally, the voice woke us all up, and then I looked back on the direction. At that time, I saw a young man in the dark with something in his hand. He is beating on your Master's bare head. I couldn't understand who can do such a horrible thing. So anyhow, instinctively I jumped and tried to stop. I caught hold of him. He was much stronger than me, but I caught hold of him. And rest of the people were just, they were stunned. No one moved out, but somehow or other it is just maybe God wants me that way. I got up and caught hold of, and I fought with him. And then only I found that he's having an axe in his hand, and he was using a real axe. And the light was put, and then we came to know that who he was going, that same man. Just half an hour ago, Master visited, and the same man wants to kill the Master. So that was the story. And then story I heard about that he next day he went frustrated and sent him back home. So after a few days, then naturally, then I thought of myself and another disciple. We thought of staying in his own kutir, because he is always alone there at night. Many madcaps would be there. They may come, and we don't want his life, so we used to sleep in the veranda. And I was terrified also because of the fear. From that moment onwards, there was a tremendous fear came. But boldly I took, and we stand as a guard for the whole night. And then so again egoism built up. Master used to call me, and a great yogi and so forth. And too much work, there is not much time to meditate. Most of the time we had to meditate after 11 o'clock, 11:30. At night we sit in the Ganges bank, and so a feeling came, I must meditate more. Work is not important, not too much work we had. The ashram is full of work. Morning from till evening you have to work. I'm tired of this work, and egoism builds up, and I must progress more spiritually. And the ashram is no good for spiritual progress. Here everyone comes and murders, rogues, thieves. Master is only looking after them. He won't care us. He won't care even ask one question. He left us alone. So this kind of feeling came, a kind of bad feeling came about the Master and organization. Because even though you are living in a spiritual atmosphere, after some time you don't feel the spiritual atmosphere, because you are immersed all the time. Just like when you are in the dark, in a hot, in a cold place, after some time you don't feel it is cold compared to the heat outside. So also you get accustomed to this spiritual vibration, so you don't feel it, because there is nothing to compare from the world. So this came, and then I ran away from my ashram, from the Master's place. And that story I conclude, and then we'll conclude that. It's very small, we'll make it short. And so egoism built up. I want to meditate more. I ran from without telling him, with a small note, and just leaving him. I went into the caves, wandered in the Himalayas, and first my cave experience. Sometime I used to go to the caves, and there is a cave I know far away, which is about only 20 miles walking distance. From that, first night I arrived there. I only had enough for a few bread, and I took with me and a matchbox to keep some light, fire in case it gets cold at night. That's all I had, my possession. And so this cave was very nice and attractive. There's a stream coming down and very quiet. And so I said, I'm going to settle for some time here.